Kiss me, you wankers!
Alright guys, here it is, Hoxton Breakout Deathwish Solo, highly requested, although I did say do not request this one, but people continued to request it anyway, so here it is. So after I did the Birth of Sky in my Deathwish Solo Loud series, I figured if I can do Birth of Sky, I could do Hoxton Breakout, so I jumped in, gave it a crack, and this is what we got. So I'm using the same build that you saw in my Birth of Sky Deathwish Solo. It's my Anarchist Frenzy build, Berserker, Silent Killer, all that kind of good stuff. Link in the description box below for a video on the build. I'm using the M308 rifle, the Judge with high explosive rounds for a secondary, and then a bunch of good skills that make these two things overpowered. Do beware though, this build may get nerfed in the near future. I think Frenzy is ripe for a nerf. It gives a lot of damage reduction, and then of course Anarchist may get nerfed at the same time, but regardless of the build, look at what we're doing. We're doing Hoxton Breakout Deathwish. Always something I've wanted to do. Actually tried it probably, I would say, 4 or 5 months ago. Had some minor success with it. Didn't get to day 2, so I guess I wasn't completely successful. I think the closest I got to was the garage on a couple of attempts, but still the garage kind of sucks, and I think the build that I used to use when I tried this in the past were... Actually, I think I've tried a couple of builds. I think I tried Grinder, I think I tried Ex-Presidents, and I think my most successful was with Muscle, like tank builds and that kind of thing. But regardless, today we're using my Anarchist build, like I said, and we've got some success with it too. Now, you will notice that one of the first things I've got to come up against in this run is the good old SWAT van. That's right. So, obviously in a Hoxton Breakout, you've got, I think it's 3 different things you've got to do to get the truck moving again. And as you can see, straight ahead, there she is, the SWAT van. I actually thought, because funnily enough, guys, this was my first try on Hoxton Breakout Deathwish Solo with this build. Like I said, I had tries in the past, but this was my first try with this build. As you can see, going for some crazy headshots here. My aim gets better, don't worry. It's a little off right now. I think the red dot is making me off a little bit. And I don't have the proper grip or body on this gun that improves my stability like the other one does. So I think I've got something called an Abraham body on it, but there's something called a Jaeger body. And the Jaeger body gives more stability, blah, blah, blah. You'll see in the build video, but I do end up getting the Jaeger body later. That's a different story altogether. So, yeah, when I saw this SWAT van, I did think that it was going to be game over. But I thought, well, you know what? I'll just battle down the hatches and I'll just kind of hang out here. Got no drill skills whatsoever. Actually, I think I do have basic, super basic drill skills where I can actually revive the drill 25% faster. I don't know. It still feels like hell, but this is probably the worst thing you can get here. Other than, nope, this is pretty much it. The other ones that you get are to put the metal boards on the street. I get that one. Moving a cop car out of the way, I don't get that one. So this is pretty much the bitch one. So you just got to kind of hang out. But you'll see that I hold up pretty well. My armor just broke there. The thing is with this build and in Hoxton Breakout, obviously this is a unwavering end. So they never stop. They never come. They never disappear. They never leave. They're always coming at you. So you got to be... Normally you would just keep moving ahead of the van. But when you're obviously solo and you've got this damn... this SWAT van, there's no way that you can move ahead. So you just got to kind of move between spots and try and stay alive. The best thing about this build, though, is I've got super armor, about 400 armor. The problem is you can see that I'm starting off with 30% of my health. And not only 30% of my health, but the Anarchist perk deck cuts your health by 50% at the same time. So I've got barely any health, so I'm pretty fragile on the inside. And of course, this drill keeps breaking. Like I said, I've got basic drill skills. And I'm taking... My armor there actually regens a little bit by itself as I'm getting completely tanked. I find some... and my armor's just completely gone there. And I take a shot. One more hit there and I was totally toast. One thing I do like about this build is that it does... You can't sit around and get your stuff back. Your armor does come back by sitting around, but very slowly with this perk deck, so I kind of like that. You actually have to be aggressive go for headshots because I've got bullseye. You've just got to go for damage because I've got Anarchist. So that's one positive about it. Doesn't make it completely overpowered, even though it is a little overpowered. But that's just this build, and I love it. So you can see the drill is broken yet again. And we're already 5 minutes in. I've only got round one corner, so at this point I'm thinking, And then I look straight at two bulldozers there, look. A skull dozer and a black dozer. Like, two of your worst enemies on any Deathwish heist. And I'm looking at both of them, and then they just walk around the corner. So the best thing that I've got going on here is this explosive judge with super reload speed. And as soon as I've reloaded, got a bit of armor back, I go back at these guys, and I get a twofer. Take them both out with about 3 or 4 shots apiece. Of course, the drill's gone again. And there is only one spot on this, no, 2 spots on this day 1 where snipers can come out. One of them will be on top of a van, and I get that guy. And then another one is up in the building. I don't think I get that guy. I'm not too sure. I don't think so. So I've got my ammo bags here. The drill is finished. Now it's just a matter of moving the damn thing out of the way. Now, one great skill, and I think it's totally not given that much thought, is the skill that makes you take 50% less damage when you're interacting with things. And on solo, and you'll see on this, I think it's absolutely critical when you're doing solo Deathwish, and probably just Deathwish in general. But you'll see when I get into the control room with the bulldozer, a cloaker actually comes into the room with me. And I'm starting to lose a bit of armor there too. A cloaker comes into the control room with me, and as I'm lowering the bollards or setting the hack or whatever it is, he's just shooting at me, and you'll see that I'm taking 0 damage from a cloaker, and I think it's pretty impressive. So now the car's on the way. It's just a matter of moving around. Yeah, hiding in some little tiny spots here. I was thinking now at this stage that I probably got this day complete. Because that SWAT van, I mean, that kept me there for what? Close to 5 minutes almost? If not, a little bit longer. So this is where the sniper's going to come out. It's going to come out on the top of that car there, that van. Take 1, take 2, take 3, get him. Told you my aim wasn't good, but it does get better. My aim gets a little better. I also have this obsession with reloading. Like, so just check out I mean, some good headshots now, look. Some great headshots. 17, 15 bullets. I think I would get close to running out of bullets here, but I incessantly reload when I really don't need to. Only when I've shot a couple of times, I want to reload. And I need to stop that, because if I've got one gripe with this build, or with assault rifles in general, it's the damn reload speed. I can't stand it. But I do have one skill that makes me reload 15% faster. And I know there's the skill, I think it's called Bloodthirst. Or Bloodthirsty, I don't know. But if you have a kill with your melee weapon, you actually get a 50% reduction in reload speed. So that is probably what I would change out in my build. In fact, in my build video, I wrote a little note in the description box. So if you do take a look, there's a couple of skills I noticed, and I was told by some guys in the comments that certain things didn't apply because of certain things I was running. Which I think was extremely helpful. So I put some some notes in the description of the video and saying I wouldn't get this anymore, but get this instead. So I think that's kind of helpful. Kind of keeps the build a little bit more alive. So now we're going to go into the garage. Now this typically is one of the most difficult parts, and I think, just thinking off the top of my head, I think there's about, what, 8 doors? Nah, maybe not. Maybe 6 doors that you can try to get to the control room. And the previous times I was telling you about where I completely failed miserably doing this heist, is the reason was because of these damn doors, because I couldn't find the damn bulldozer in time, and I just got completely overran. So take this hostage, and that will delay the assault by 20 seconds or so when this one ends, because the assault wave always ends as soon as you come in the garage. I do not, this is a bit of a cheat here, but I do not find the bulldozer in this one. I think I find him in the 3rd one, which for me, I don't actually think that's that bad. I mean, I would have loved to bring a saw or some C4, or gone through the front door, like my little Payday rap, if you just saw that video. I don't find him in this one, but then what's ironic enough is, when I always play this heist and I come into the garage, whether I'm playing with a group of friends or whatever, I always run down and I immediately go to the right and check see if there's a door over there. Because everyone else always runs to the left. So I always run to the right and I always try that door. But of course, being solo right now, I didn't do that. And guess where the control room is. Correct. It's exactly where I would normally go if I played this heist. I just didn't do it. But whatever. I'm not angry. It's just life. So we're going to run up, back up to the top there, and try one more control room. Just got to be careful for tasers too. I know I complain a lot about bulldozers on Deathwish, which obviously for good reason. But tasers to me are pretty brutal because I don't take any taser skills. I kind of rely on, if I'm getting tased, to be able to just turn around and kind of just get a lucky shot on them, which I think I did when I was out there with the drill. Stun that dozer beautifully with a judge so I can drop down. And then this is the door right here where I always come down and check. But of course, like I said, didn't check it. Now, one tip I've got for this is if you do use an explosive weapon like I always do, to take shields and dozers out and all the specials and big groups of cops like that, is on Hoxton Breakout, always have that gun ready when you open this door. Saves you from like dipping to the side to switch weapons and jumping in. And there's my man. Give him one, take his face off, another. 3 with this. And see you later, buddy. So the cloaker will come in, look at my armor. You see that? I am taking damage, but like minor damage. Absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, I think this build is going to get nerfed. I actually am thinking of not doing some other Deathwish solos with this build, because I feel like if I do more Deathwish solos with this build and then the build gets nerfed because it's a little overpowered, or some of the skills get nerfed or whatever it may be, and then this is not as viable anymore, I don't want to have a bunch of videos out there with something that isn't attainable by anyone else. So I'm thinking my next video, I'll see what the nerf goes like first, because I've still got a bank of other videos saved up. I'll see how the nerf goes first before I do any more or record any more. I've got some recorded already, and see. But I might have to just go back to regular tank builds if it's gonna change, or if it's not gonna change anytime soon. But so this is day 1 pretty much over. Just got to wait for the car to come around, getting flashed to all hell. There is still a risk of me going down here. I think I take a bit of damage at the bottom of here, but nothing to worry about. I was actually, once I got to the garage, I thought I'm pretty much set. And to be honest, I always thought that day 2 was going to be easier than day 1, but I'm not sure. I think I have more trouble in day 2. I think you'll see the video is probably about 35, 36 minutes long, so not a bad time for Hoxton Breakout. I think day 1 with a good team, you can usually do day 1 in 9-10 minutes at a good pace if you don't have the drill. So with the drill, 12 minutes isn't that bad. Didn't get really held up that badly. And then for day 2, I think with a good team, you can probably get 15, 20 minutes. And I think I do day 2 in 22 minutes. I don't know. So there we go. 159 kills, 50% accuracy. Not that great. 30 specials. Most downed, of course, that was me. But of course, didn't have any. So let's zip over to day 2. This one's fun. Now, I love day 2. But there's a few, like, quirks with it as far as I'm concerned. These guys at the beginning, man, oh my goodness. These guys, when they start shooting you, they hurt like hell. So it always makes me laugh. And it's not really that funny, but usually, I would say 75% of the time, someone will go down and get, like, down by these cops. Because they're so tough. And even if you're running Grinder or Muscle, Grinder or Ex-Presidents or something, Muscle not so much, you have a lot of armor. But if you're running just a regular health regen perk, these guys will knock the shit out of you. I mean, they're hurting me, and I've got 400 armor, so gotta be a little careful. Can be a little ballsy, though, with this build. Don't have to be too concerned. But look, they've took away half my armor, and it's only like 3 shots. But I always want to race to the front here to get Hoxton started straight away. And obviously the biggest thing on this is key cards and what you do with the damn key cards. So everybody and their mother has a different idea what to do with key cards. So feel free to tell me if you think I wasted key cards, especially on that door I just opened. There was a rhyme to my reason with that door, and I'll explain it. But then the other thing is armory, infirmary, and then just the regular doors, and then using them for actual tasks that you're sent off to do. So what I do is I used one to go up that door there. Now, the reason I wanted to do that was because, like I said, this was my first time, first attempt, and this is the first attempt I got to day 2. So my idea was, and I use another key card there. Yeah, may have been a waste, but not for me. He almost took the power there too. But yeah, let's go back to that first card, and I'll come back to the second card I used right there. So, seeing I'd never come here before, what I intended to do was to use the upstairs as like a training method, because you can go all the way through and come back down the other side. So that was the plan, is if shit got crazy, I could just go upstairs, bring all the cops upstairs, then come back downstairs, and, you know, it would kind of funneling them all through, and I can just take them out as I'm going. So that was the theory. Doesn't end up happening, but on the bright side of that, it wasn't a wasted key card, because I kind of just go upstairs and I find another one anyway. So really, when you think about it, that was okay, right? You give me that one. So the second key card that I just used on that door was, based on where I got the power there, look, right by that door, I didn't want this heist to take, or day 2, to take 30, 35, 40, 45 minutes, and that power box, man, if it's in the wrong spot, that will constantly get touched and crapped on by the cops. And it's actually in a good spot right where it is, but it's only good if I sit where I am right here and I close that door, or I had a team. Well, obviously I don't have a team, so I wanted to close that door, and I can actually sit in here and monitor both sides and monitor the power box all from this spot here. That's why I put my ammo bag here, and this is where I intend on staying. And if shit does pop off, I can always, as I just beast those dozers without the faceplates on, I can just run out and then run my back path. That was kind of my idea. So maybe a good idea, maybe not a good idea. I do get a card to leave with, and I do get a card right now to go into the next thing. So I do find 2 more cards. So I get a maximum of 4 cards. I don't want to go into the server room right now because I don't have a card. I don't want to drill it. So I didn't check all the spots that I know, and I didn't go upstairs yet. So check the FBI office. Check this little room. This is where I found it on the file cabinet. Always check the chair there. Chair's outside the office. And then it's just a matter of looking for that damn server. Of course, if you look for the server and you're playing with a team, and when you go into one of these things, a cloaker can drop down from the vent. And of course, when solo, cloakers don't bother you. They'll just shoot at you. They won't kick you. But the amount of times I've gone into that server room, and the cloaker's dropped down, and he's kicked my butt. So that's regardless. So the other good thing about me actually having that front door closed is that you can also open it too, and you don't use another key card or lose a key card or whatever for doing that. So that's the best way for me to leave too. So I open that door when it's time to go, and I'm out, and that's pretty much easy. So still looking around for a card, and then it's time to start picking up the packages that I saw. Don't know if you noticed at the beginning, but I did miss 3 packages right at the desk. Kind of pissed off. Saw that when I was just recording. That kind of pissed me off a little bit. I love getting packages. Don't know why. Don't need the attachments anymore. Don't need the XP. But I do like to pick them all up. So now we're 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes in almost, and missing a lot of shots on this dude. Now it's time to go upstairs, take a look around. This is where I find my other key card and realise that I've not wasted it. Almost get sniped. No issue for me though with all my armor. He missed anyway for some reason. Got no dodge, but... And of course, the second I go, the damn power. And there's my key card. But then of course the power gets knackered and I have to go back downstairs anyway. So not a problem. Not a problem. Smash through here, lose some of my armor. Power's back on, then I decide just to stick around a little bit. So I actually thought that this day was going to be more difficult than it was. I mean, this really wasn't that much of a crazy challenge, to be honest. But it is funny on so I'll link all my other Solo Deathwish loud heists in the description box. I think I've got 4. Yeah, I've got 4, but 3 of them technically are part of this series. So I did add in there in the playlist Lab Rats Deathwish, because if you don't know the story, that Lab Rats was one that I just could not do with a team, so I decided to just go and try it solo. So I did Lab Rats Solo Deathwish, and that was ages ago now. It was probably the end of last year, and I did it solo. It's been changed since, so you can't actually do it the way I did it. So if you do want to do Lab Rats Deathwish solo, my video is probably not going to help because I kind of hide behind that big tub. where cops can't come behind, but now they can, so I wouldn't even use it as a point of reference anymore. But I still like it. So I stuck that one in there, but then I recently started this series, and I started off with doing just a regular bank heist, because I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out. So I didn't know whether I'd be able to do it that well or be that successful. So I tried a regular bank heist, and that was actually pretty easy. I think I got that done in about 6 minutes, 7 minutes, which I was kind of shocked at. So then once I got that, I don't know why I just didn't turn the power on there. I was looking right at it. So I thought that was pretty easy. So then I went on to do the big bank, stuck with a bank theme, went for a big bank instead. And that was kind of interesting. So I wasn't running this build, I was running a muscle build, tank build I was using this rifle, but I wasn't using Silent Killer, I don't think. I originally started it with my normal tank build, the one that I used for Overdrill Solo. So I had my Raven shotgun, and I had my China Puff secondary, and that didn't really work out that well, to be quite honest. Once you get on the roof in the big bank, those snipers were really kind of burning my biscuits a little bit, grinding my gears, you could say. So I then switched to the M308 because that's the rifle that had the most damage, and I got it first time once I used that rifle. So I actually thought that was a really good game. I think it was like 25 minutes it took, but it was fun. I got the 4 bags needed, and it gets super close at the end because I start running out of ammo and trying to get the bags out. As you can see, just running around here going for crazy headshots. Actually gets crazy because you go into the vault when the round is just about to... Look at all these cops, man. Look at that shit. Oh my god. It's so much fun though, this build, because the more damage you do, more armor you get back. So you can stand there and just keep getting your armor back. It's mental. So what I was talking about, yeah, the big bank. So I actually get trapped in one of the little vaults, and I'm hiding behind the money table. I have to survive a whole round behind a money table. Absolutely mental. So that, again, that'll be linked in the bottom. And then after that one, I did Birth of Sky. Now, Birth of Sky was a completely different story. Birth of Sky, oh my god, that was worse than Lab Rat. So I struggled to do Lab Rat's Deathwish. And Birth of Sky came out, and me and some friends, I was doing it on live streams. I was doing it, I tried it solo. It was absolutely ridiculous. So eventually got to the sewers in my like single attempts. But those sewers on Birth of Sky, even on Deathwish, they're pretty... on Deathwish, even with a group, they're pretty bad. So I couldn't even do it with a group to begin with. Eventually did get it on a live stream, and that's the video that's up on my channel. So it wasn't classed as a solo. So after my big bang, people were saying, oh, you should do Birth of Sky. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, you're right, I probably should do Birth of Sky, to be fair. Hoxton Breakout was the most requested. Birth of Sky was probably second. Golden Grin was probably third. So I knew that I wanted to do Hoxton Breakout. I knew that'd be a bastard. But so when I went to do Birth of Sky, I knew that it was going to be trouble. And I was trying it with muscle. I was trying it... probably had 5 or 6 different attempts, maybe close to 10. And I would say 80% of the time I'd get to the sewers. But as soon as you get down the sewers... Now, if you don't know what the Birth of Sky heist is... once you've got all the money bags up top and blah, 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 you go downstairs into the sewers, and it's like a constant wave of cops. There's dozers just dropping from the sky, or from, like, I don't know, from the road down vents, I guess. And there's tons of shields down there, and it's constant. There's tasers that are going to stop you in your tracks all the time. And I tried it with rocket launchers, I tried it with grenade launchers, tried it with explosive bows. And I end up actually doing it with the build that I've got now, but that was after trying it a bunch of times with a muscle perk deck, and it just wasn't working for me. I almost got some success with the grenade launcher, but it's still not good enough. So there, yeah, got this Anarchist perk deck going, threw in the Silent Killer and all that kind of stuff, and Frenzy, and it kind of just came together. So coming from that, it was like, all right. So now I've got the build that I really like, and I think I can do some damage with. Let me try the highly requested Hoxton Breakout, even though I didn't think I would possibly be able to do it. But I had a lot more confidence once I'd done Birth of Sky, so that's kind of why I jumped straight into this one. I literally did Birth of Sky, or I did Hoxton Breakout probably like 3 hours after doing the Birth of Sky, so that's how confident I was. But I must say, having done Birth of Sky, towards the end there, I could literally feel my heart pounding in my chest. It was absolutely insane. And now, at this point in this heist, this is probably the most crazy it gets, getting trapped into this room here. But the easiest thing about doing this, well, being in this room here, and in any heist, if there's just one doorway to come in, it was the same when I was just telling you about the big bank. Like, if you've got just one tiny way they come in, when I was trapped in that money room in the big bank, it kind of made it easy. And then I also did, which I need to put in the description too with my other solo louds, is I did I've done a couple of custom heists solo loud too. Manager Mayhem was one, just remembered that one. But the other one I was thinking of was Out of Frame, the one that is completely custom, which is absolutely amazing. You guys got to check that one out. I did it as solo stealth, and it's also, yeah, I did it solo loud, and it's also available to stealth. So I did solo stealth, both Deathwish too. So I'll put a link to that one in the description too. Oh, my buddy's here, and that was the same kind of thing. Right by the vault, there's an extra little room, and there's just one door where the cops can come through. So if you can just control them coming through that door, you're really in a good spot. So just don't let too many people in. Of course, that one came up blank too. And everyone knows, if you've been here a while, or you may just know just from playing yourself, but you've got to take the captain out. Almost went down myself there, look. No armor. One shot from that bulldozer in there would have been toast. But yeah, you guys have got to take the captain out. Help your teammates out if you're playing and Captain Winters shows up. Be the guy who takes him out. Grab another evidence here. I think this is the evidence that's actually the one, but as soon as that shield appears, I know Captain Winters is on the map. It's time to go. I just don't want to go out there and get nailed by that taser while there's a bulldozer out there. Plus, I also don't want to run out there when I'm completely blinded either. So run through these guys, and that's kind of what I just showed there is exactly what I did. That was lucky. That's exactly what I did in Bertha Sky in the sewers, is you just keep shooting the floor with the Judge explosive, and it just keeps moving them out of the way and stunning everyone, so it just makes it so much easier. So Captain Winters, not a problem on Deathwish, not with the build that I've got going on, so it's going to be one Molotov, that's all I've got. And then let's just take some of his little buddies out. I've got some sniper lasers on me here, so I've got to be a little careful. But he's one more bunch here. He's a goner. So like I said at the beginning of day 2 here, everyone's got a theory on what to do with the key cards. And it really does... Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Really does depend on what deployables everyone's running. So obviously I'm running 2 maxed out ammo bags. So I'll be in a bad way because I've also got fully loaded, not ace, but I've got fully loaded, so I'll get increased ammo pickup. Which means I've got scavenger ace, so I'm getting super ammo pickup. So I'm doing something seriously wrong if I've got 2 maxed out ammo bags and I need the armory open, so that would be a waste. I'm never going to need the infirmary, right, because if my health goes, it's gone, right? I've only got 50% of my 30% of health. So if that goes, I'm done. So there was no need to open the infirmary. So really, I feel like I used the key cards in the best possible way. If I had one more, I'd probably close the other door next to me in that little corner there. Or maybe one from the other side, so they literally just come through this bit. So now, I got one more thing to do. I don't get the FBI guy, which I'm a little bit annoyed by, to be honest. The FBI boss task is probably the easiest one. That's my favourite. If you just run his computer a couple of times, I think my next one is actually probably the worst one. It's where you have to go down into the archives. So not only do you have to pick a lock, then I have to drill, and then you have to search. I guess that's similar to the one I just did, right, with the evidence. Or, yeah, I think it is, right, because you have to pick a lock, drill a lock, and search. But at least with that one, you can put the drill down and pick at the same time, but whatever. So this wave's over, almost done here, 15 minutes in. Like I said, I think I take 20 minutes on this one. I get a lot of kills, obviously. Going for a lot of headshots. So I'm not sure if I did mention in the beginning. So a couple of the skills I'm running on this is I am using the bullseye ace. So that means I'm getting 25 armor back for every headshot, but you can't get that more than once every 2 seconds. And then the perk deck itself, Anarchist, gives, I think it's 10 armor back every 1.5 seconds just for doing damage. So those two together, and of course he gets the power there, look. Just as I come around that corner, he goes back on the damn thing. But never mind. Stressing out over that power thing. But I think if I got the power somewhere else and I wasn't able to sit close to it, that it would have been a hell of a lot worse. A hell of a lot worse, so. Can't see a damn thing. This did remind me of Overdrill Solo a little bit. A little bit. Obviously nowhere near as long. I think this, like I said, this total video is probably going to be about 35 minutes, so that's not too bad. Tempted to close that door right there. The only thing that I feel like I'm missing on this build is shock and awe aced. So, interesting fact, like I said about that build video, so apparently shock and awe doesn't work with the Anarchist perk deck. And shock and awe increases your armor recovery rate by 25%, which makes sense because the way that you regenerate your armor with Anarchist is different, right? So why would a skill work that works for regular armor work the same for something that is completely different? So I understand why that doesn't work, but shock and awe ace is the skill that allows you to shoot a shield and it knocks him back, kind of staggers him, and then he turns him around. You can actually shoot his body instead of just his shield. So that I miss. I had that on Overdrill, and that actually worked out really well. And I was so tempted to use the card there, but I really didn't want to be caught with a drill, a shitty drill at that, at the end of the heist. So, and I was surprised that bulldozer there took that many shots, right? Because before, when I was in that control room on day 1, didn't really take much at all, but one there will do him. One there will do him indeed. So I am doing some mega damage with this. So I am running Berserker, and what you'll see with my health there is, like I said, I've got 30% of my maximum health. So that obviously invokes Berserker. Berserker's live all the time with this. So I'm getting a massive amount of damage boost from Berserker. Probably, I think it's about 40% I'm getting. So I'm getting an extra 40% damage just from running Berserker. Plus I'm getting 15 from Silent Killer. So I'm really doing some serious damage with this thing, because I think my damage is up to, I think I'm about 160 or 170, maybe even 180 with this gun. So you pile those things on the top, and I'm getting some mega damage with it. So it's actually really, really cool. Love it. I love the sound of it too. I mean, I'm not really an assault rifle kind of guy. I'm really more of a shotgun guy. That's why I think my accuracy sucks so much right now. So now it's time to go in here. I feel like I'm almost done. Get in here and do some searching. Find this one pretty fast too. This one can be a real bitch. I think I get it on the third one. Come on. Nope. Yeah, I think it's this one. Then it's just, this is the last computer. Boom. Nope, not that one then. Maybe fourth one. Yeah, I think this is the last computer. Then it's time to get the freak out of here. Which is kind of nice. Because if you're in there too long, it can get serious in there too. And then again, got the judge, just run and shoot the floor. You really can't get stopped once you've got this judge. And that's one of the reasons I take the shotgun skill, I forget what it's called, shotgun CQB I think it is. I have that aced, and that gives me, I think it's a 50% reload speed boost. I'd have to check, but I think it's about 50%, maybe it's 30%, 35%, but get that boost. And the idea for me getting that was for those tight situations. So if you really get into shit, you can fire 5 of those down at the floor and then reload super fast and then shoot another 5 without even thinking about it. So that's kind of the theory with that, and I think it works out pretty well because the judge reloads really slow if you don't have that. And I don't know why I was not watching the power there. Totally not thinking. Still not a bad time though, I think, for solo. I think it's actually a decent time. And you know what? I think I want to promise myself that if this build does get nerfed and it's not the same, then I think I'm going to try and redo this. Maybe what I'll do is redo this with Pro version instead. How about that? I think I'll do the Pro version. That might, because I don't want to put up another video of me doing the same thing that I've already done. That would just be silly. But the pro version it's technically different, right? It's technically different. There's more fear involved. Oh, I thought I was done then. Yeah, so technically there's more fear because, well, more fear in day 2. There's no fear in day 1 because you just have to buy the damn thing again, I guess. But I guess the last thing to talk about, because this video is going to be coming to an end soon, is how much do we love Hoxton Breakout? That's the thing, right? So I don't know if you saw my top 5 heist video I did. That was a few months ago now. But good old Hoxton Breakout was on there. Plus there was the stealth mod. You guys ever see the stealth mod for this day? Day 2 stealth mod, that was fun. A little bit weird. The guard movement was a little bit weird, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I guess if I remember, I'll put that down in the description box. I'll probably forget that one, but it is on my channel if you do want to check that one out. But yeah, Hoxton Breakout's awesome. I'd like to see how many times I've done it Deathwish. It's probably a lot. It's kind of one of my go-tos, especially when I was leveling up a lot. Of course, I get flash as soon as I take the damn thing out. And then it's just a matter of racing to the end. It doesn't really make a difference now. Because I can just pull out that, just go the other way. I just don't feel like taking on that dozer right there. And it's just a matter of shooting the ground, look. And just gets rid of all these guys. So it does get a little crazy here. I do have to throw the bag just in case. For some reason, those 2 shots there missed that dozer. And I don't know why I threw the bag. Because my armor was no less than 50% there, really. And that's pretty much it, look. 23 minutes. And that's it. So, I need some requests for the next ones. I already have a couple more recorded, but might have to do some with a different build, just in case. So, 301 kills, 56 specials, 65% accuracy. Got a little better with the accuracy there. But this one was a lot of fun. Give it a try. Try my build out. And I will see you guys in the next solo Deathwish extravaganza.